Heyo everybody, Haku here with HaQ&A 51. So let's talk about some stuff. We got a lot to discuss, mostly about the 13-month series in Tower of God, but also some Boku no Hero Academia stuff. Really, I think we have a lot of stuff to discuss, but it's only 4 different series. I think we got Maid Dragon, and then I'll probably do maybe either Boku no Hero Academia or One Piece. I think Boku no Hero Academia, then I'll do One Piece, and then Tower of God. I think it's just those 4 that we had stuff to discuss on. But we do have a lot to discuss. We got a lot of new information in, well, the 3 of those that are long-running series. And then Maid Dragon, of course. It's always nice to discuss things with that as well, since it is wrapping up towards the end. And also a lot of general stuff that I think is pretty important and pretty good to talk about. So we'll have the general stuff to talk about as well. Saturday is when I think I'm going to be posting this. Saturday is not going to become the new day for the HaQ&A. Well, yeah, it's not. It's not. It can't be. It's not. I'm just so late on this video because of being so late recording other videos. Just because early this week I had so many problems with scheduling and with with scheduling when I needed to record and write all this different stuff, and I had some issues with my computer messing up. It hasn't done it in a couple days, and I think I may have fixed whatever was wrong, but I don't know when it could mess up again, so I'm going to just have to be really cautious when recording videos and everything. So anything else? Let's start talking about the general stuff. Also for the spring season, we are going to be completely revamping the schedule. We're going to have to, because we're going to have 2 things. I think Boku no Hero Academia's anime and Attack on Titan Season 2 are both going to be premiering on Saturdays. So I'm going to have to I'm going to be trying to review them the day they come out, so I'll be trying to review them on Saturday, which means that the Boku no Hero Academia read-through will need to move to a different day of the week. So we're just going to have to probably, and to do that I might move the HaQ&A to a different day of the week. We're just going to have to really figure out which day of the week we're going to want to do all this different stuff. So we're going to have to do a big revamp for the schedule for spring. Also, there are a few things I want to talk about changing for the channel, I guess. First up, I want to say the One Piece anime is on the chopping block, but really, it's been on the chopping block for quite a long time, maybe even like a year. There's been a long time where I'm like, okay, it's fun, and I feel so bad. I'm like, I don't want to stop reviewing the anime, even though, I don't know, even though it's stuff that we're really not discussing much. We've already seen it go down in the manga. It's just I don't know, I feel bad. I'm like, there's a few people that are probably watching it and enjoy it and might even be anime-only watchers, and I don't want to take away from them if they're really actively watching my reviews, which is why I want to bring up, if you want me to keep those reviews, definitely say something, because if not, I think I'm going to stop reviewing the anime for One Piece, maybe when this filler arc ends, just because then we'll move into the canon stuff again that we've already seen in the manga. But I'm not saying that, I'm going to stop reviewing it week to week, but I'm not going to stop reviewing it. Like, if there's a really good episode that I really want to talk about, or a really bad episode I really want to talk about, I'll still make a review of it. I'm just not going to do it every single week for stuff where there's really not much to discuss, stuff we've already seen in the manga. Especially if there's not really very many or any anime-only watchers that are just waiting for my reviews or anything. And it's not like, again, it's not just getting rid of a video slot on the channel. I'll talk about the read-throughs as well, because this will kind of help you visualize what I'm thinking here. For the Mahou Shoujo Weeksei Keikaku read-through and Boku no Hero Academia read-through, I'm going to keep doing both at the same time until we finish the Boku no Hero Academia read-through. At least that's what I'm going to try to do, but doing 2 read-throughs at the same time, 2 a week, not flying. Like, there's such long videos and takes so long to make that I don't want to say, oh, it stresses me out, whatever, but it is really pretty much impossible to find enough time, especially when there are channels not even doing 1 a week or something, but doing 2 a week is just, it's it's a freaking lot, especially with all the other videos we do. So the way I'm thinking about doing it is we could either, when we finish volume 1 of Mahou Shoujo Ikusei Keikaku, we could read something else, then read volume 2 of that, then read something else, then volume 3. Or the way I think is a better way to do it is once we finish reading volume 1, we'll do a chapter of Mahou Shoujo Ikusei Keikaku, a chapter of something else, a chapter of that, a chapter of something else, a chapter of that, a chapter of something else. And whatever we do, the something else, whatever that is, it can be a light novel, it can be a manga, whatever you guys want to suggest. I already have the whole list of manga you've suggested, so the next one's probably going to be a manga. But that would mean you get a Mahou Shoujo Ikusei Keikaku read-through video once every 2 weeks. But since it's once every 2 weeks, you wouldn't have any big hiatuses while I read anything else, and it would be much easier on me to make sure I actually get the video up each week, rather than being so busy like this week or I think it may have been 2 weeks ago, where I'm just so busy with other videos that I don't get the video up at all. So this would, I think, work better schedule-wise. So imagine that's a video slot. That slot will go from just Mahou Shoujo Ikusei Keikaku to 2 read-throughs back and forth, one chapter this week, one chapter the next week, like that, trying to explain it as best I can. And the Boku no Hero Academia read-through slot wouldn't go away either. It would just turn into the weekly live reactions and reviews when we catch back up. So that's why I'm still planning on doing both of those till I catch up with Boku no Hero Academia. Then instead of replacing that with a different read-through, since we're doing 2 read-throughs on the other video slot, instead of doing another read-through, once we catch up to that, I'll be doing live reactions and reviews. And I guess give me suggestions on how you'd want to see it. If you want just the live reaction and then a review a day or 2 later, or if you want, because what I'm thinking right now, I'm thinking I'm going to do them in one video like I do with 12 Beast. I'm just going to put the live reaction and review together in one video and post it together. That's the way I'm thinking about doing it. So if you want me to make it separate, just say something and I'll just talk back and forth and we'll decide on what we want together, of course. So that's my thoughts on that. I'm going to talk a lot more about all this in the monthly update for April, likely. So I'm going to try to not talk about it too much here. And then as for the slot that the One Piece anime review would go in, that wouldn't disappear either. It's just that, like, with what I'm doing now, between stuff outside of YouTube and doing all the stuff I do day to day, I probably get maybe an hour or 2 of free time, and then in that hour or two of free time, I'm like, gosh, I really want to work on my top waifu video for 2016. I really want to work on my top Mamusu waifu video. I really want to work on top Tower of God chapters of 2016. I really want to do a review of some anime, but I'm like, as like a series, but I'm like, but in my like 1 hour of free time, I'm like, I don't feel like doing any of that. So that's what I want, to sort of lighten up the schedule so that I can do more videos like that. And I feel like with a lighter schedule, with the replacing with the Boku no Hero Academia read-through with just a live reaction and review, which takes a lot less time, and instead of doing 2 read-throughs, we just have the 1 read-through a week, and it's alternating between Mahou Shoujo Ikusei Keikaku and something else. I feel like that will free up enough time that I will have time to actually work on those. And especially not having the One Piece video there makes it so that in that spot, every couple of weeks, I can post those videos that I've been working on. Especially, I'd really like to make a series review of Haito Genso no Grimgar, and a couple other series reviews that I think would be really interesting, especially with this season just ending. I really want to talk about Kimono Friends and Urara Meirocho, because I've been watching both of those shows and I've been really, really liking them. But I haven't really, there's no room any other way that I feel like I could be able to make a video on them. But I do want to make videos on them because I really like both of them. I think Urara Meirocho might be my second favorite anime this season, and I haven't even been covering it week to week. Second behind Maid Dragon, I think. So yeah, that's my thoughts. Summary: we're turning the MSIC review into MSIC and the MSIC read-through into MSIC and something else read-throughs, alternating back and forth. and you can decide if you want it once every 2 weeks, like I said, interspersed, or if you want me to just do one, then read the other, then read the other, then read the other. But doing it that way, there'd be like these big old 2-3 month chunks of hiatus between. If I pick something you don't really like, there might be this big hiatus before I pick something else you do like. Whereas if we're going back and forth, even if you don't like one of the two things I'm reading, you're still getting something you do like once every 2 weeks. So that's just the way I'm thinking of it. So yeah, basically we're doing that. We're gonna finish the Boku no Hero Academia read through and replace it with manga live reaction and reviews, and we're probably gonna get rid of the One Piece anime reviews so that I can focus on making other videos. Because it's been a while since I did anything else too, like any top whatever videos or anything like that, or any theories for Tower of God or One Piece or anything. It's been so long since I've done any of that, and I'd like to do that, but I just need to free up the time, and I think maybe getting rid of the One Piece anime reviews will give me just a little bit more time that I need. So that's my thoughts on it right now. And Gal Anonym brought up, hold on, let me get some water really quick, it is just so friggin' hot. Gal Anonym said, I'd prefer you finish everything you read right now before starting something new. Of course I'd like to see more manga read-throughs on the channel, but the more your attention is divided, the less you'll remember and the less focused you become. It's even more significant judging by the amount of series people want you to cover. Me too. I'm not really interested in the light novels, but I'll patiently wait for content that's interesting for me. Thank you for bringing that up, but I kind of see it the other way. Like, I think you'd probably want to see whatever content is interesting to you once every 2 weeks, rather than see it all like once a week and then nothing for months or something. So I think it's better to just go dispersing it in or out like that. Oh man, that was horrible grammar, and I think I just made up words. But you get what I'm saying. And it won't affect the Boku no Hero Academia read through at all. Like I said, I'm planning on finishing that as a separate matter. Yeah, just bringing that up and putting that in there because I think I wanted to help you guys understand a lot more. We got a lot of good general comments this week. And now for this week's bonus thingy real quick. Bonus thingy this week. I wanted to talk about some of my waifus this season. For me, Maid Dragon, it's very difficult to say one girl is best girl, but I'd say Saikawa. Saikawa is my spirit animal. Elma is a very close second though. I really like Elma. Then Kanna, again close behind Elma, and Lukoa close behind Kanna. And then I guess Toru is back there somewhere. Poor Toru. I thought I was going to really like Toru so much, and I really, really do, but it's just there are so many other characters that I like even more. Yojo Senki, Tanya's really the only option now, isn't she? I mean, I guess there's Victoria too, but Tanya, let's face it, Tanya's the better one here. Little Witch Academia, Ursula best girl. Ursula best girl for Little Witch Academia. I'd say Susie and Amanda are kind of tied for second. Susie may be a little better than Amanda. And then I'd say behind them maybe Diana, Akko, and Constance are close. I don't even know if I would throw Constance in there, just maybe. For Demi-chan with Katari Tai, Hikari best girl. Nope, no question, Hikari best girl. I like Himari and Yuki both a lot too though. Kimono friends, Shubil is best friend. Shubil is a besto. Second place I'd give to Emperor Penguin, and I like a ton of the others, but none of them are really on the level for me as Emperor Penguin or Shubil. Urara Meirocho. I love how I put this in my notes. I have Urara Meirocho, I have No-No, and then a ton of greater than arrows, and then like Chia, then Kon, then Kome. But No-No is absolute besto. No-No is one of the best waifus for the season. No-No is, she makes me feel. I feel like every time she says something, I just melt and want to start crying. For Nyanko Days, I mean, none of them are particularly that great in the waifu material, but I guess the main girl, because she has the cute little cat headband things. Gabriel Dropout, Satania besto. Everybody knows Satania is a besto. Please no bully the Debiru. Then Vignette, second place, because I really like that really straight-laced, responsible personality, and then Raphael is in third, and then fuck Gabriel, nobody cares about Gabriel. Yeah, it's so sad because I feel like ordinarily I'd like Gabriel's character, but I just feel like I've seen that same character so many times that I'm like, it's whatever at this point. That same character of, oh, she's a girl, but she's really irresponsible and likes video games and stuff. And I'm like, I've seen this character 90 times, and it's the same character. I do think Gabriel's very entertaining, but I think that's what keeps her from even really being on the list for me. Raphael is sadistic, but really, really cute in the same sort of vein. Vignette, I really think her personality is awesome, and Satania Besto. So let's roll through some general comments real quick. Venersa said, you forgot the timestamps, and unless I can somehow not see them, because it says there are 2 comments on the video, but I can only see my own comment. Thank you for reminding me. I forgot them again last week, and I'm bringing this up in here because you guys can bet for the first few hours, I'm probably going to forget them again this week. Let's just be honest. And also, yeah, it does that sometimes where, yeah, there was nothing in my spam filter when I checked. So it does that sometimes where it'll tell me there's like a certain amount of comments on a video, and I'll be like, cool. And then I won't see any, and I won't have any notifications of them, and I'll be like, so let's go check the spam filter. Nothing in the spam filter. And I'm like, okay, is it just like an automated spam delete or something? Or is it like comments that aren't allowed to be shown in my country? Because I know some videos can't be shown in certain countries, but I'm like, none of that really makes any sense. But you guys know YouTube is broken so very often, so who even knows? Then Andrew Sapita said, I'm happy that you always make time to talk to your harem, followers. I think it's one of the reasons. Sorry, I'm having so much trouble reading. My brain's all over the place. Well, I like your videos so much. Not like those people who for some weird reason never even reply to people, even if they don't have big channels. Thanks for the video. Thank you for the comments. I feel like I really felt short on answering questions for the past 2 weeks. Like, I feel like I've just been constantly behind, trying to catch up and everything. And because of being behind and everything, like, the channel and comments and YouTube life has suffered because of it. I think I'm going to be doing much better, especially when I figure out how to change this schedule and make it better. So thank you so much, though. I really do need I really do appreciate and love the positive comments, guys. And I feel the same way. I don't get when people don't, like, I get if you're getting thousands and thousands of comments and you answer what you can, but you just can't answer all of them. But like, some people just don't answer comments at all, and I just don't get it, especially small channels. Also, I think a part of what made me want to do what made me want to answer every single comment, or as close to every single comment as possible, is, well, this may be an extra thing to throw in there. YouTubers that have influenced the way I make content. Originally, and whoa, this may devolve into a story about how I got into deciding to make these videos or whatever. But originally I wanted to make gaming videos. I wanted to do that, but I'm like, shit, my computer can't handle that. You saw I could barely handle making my Pokemon Let's Play. I'm like, I can't handle this. So I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll do other things. I really enjoy watching King of Lightning, Make a Path Presents, Roger's Base, Sunpatch, Hype Hunter. There were a lot of anime, manga, TV show, and movie reviewing sort of channels that I really enjoyed. I was like, maybe I can do some of this. I can maybe build up a decent following, maybe get it. Then when I have enough money, I can get a better computer, better recording software, and throw games in on top of doing that as well. And then I just sort of fell in love with doing this. I still want to do games eventually. I think that'd be super fun. Hell, I might even throw in a game here and there now if I think my computer can. My computer can handle playing any game I've ever tried to play on it perfectly fine. But it's like as soon as I start recording, the game will play perfectly fine, but the recording will be all jacked up to hell and back. So I don't even know if it's my computer or just me being stupid. But maybe eventually you will see some games here as well. And getting actually back to what I was the point I originally started on, some of the influences I had, I would say big influences on the type of videos I make would be, of course I've changed things, done things my own way, but I'd say Roger Space and Make It Path Presents were huge influences on me wanting to do Q&As, being Make It Path Presents, or me wanting to cover The Walking Dead because I love the show. And then on the other hand, me wanting to cover manga and anime. I liked the way that Roger Space did it, but I wanted to do it myself a little bit differently. I decided I didn't want to do reviews on the same day that a manga came out or whatever. I would do the live reaction, but I'd wait a few days, maybe a day or two, and think about it a little bit, and then do the review. So I sort of, and I wanted to do the Q&As, doing this HaQ&A differently than Make It Path Presents does their Q&As. So it's like, they were big influences on the style of my videos, but I also wanted to experiment with my own stuff. And I've done some things that neither of them have done, so just experimenting with different things. And I plan to continue that. I want to make the channel something where I feel comfortable posting just any type of video, really. Then the big one on me answering comments like this and trying to answer every single comment, I'd say Jacksepticeye, because I haven't watched him in a really long time. I kind of feel bad saying that and saying he influenced me, but I would see him with like 1 million subs or something. He must have been getting like tens of thousands of comments a day. And you would see where he spent hours answering comments each day, and I'm like, that sort of dedication to talking to people, to making people feel like they were heard, and to building a community, that's kind of what I want. I don't want just a channel, just people watching my videos. I want a community, and for people to feel like they're heard, and that influenced a lot of the HaQ&A, where I'm like, I want to be, so we're not just hearing my ideas on the channel, but with the HaQ&A, we hear your side of things and your ideas too, so that you can actually sort of actively contribute to the videos. So, yeah, I think those are some of the people, some of the channels that have really affected the way I do things a bit, or inspired the way I do things a bit. Ilham Naeem said, when a comedy anime has better action than an action anime, loving the general discussion at the beginning, and yay for timestamps. Timestamps. Thank you so much. I really like the general discussion. I mean, it's been going on for almost 30 minutes now, because it gives me a place to just talk with everyone, keep you all updated on how things are going with the channel. I like that a lot. Ilham Naeem said, imagine if one day CU comments on your channel, I would poop myself. Maybe, I don't know. But seriously though, I don't feel like I'm the type to get starstruck. I feel like if I saw a celebrity, I would just talk to them if they were a normal person. I don't know how I'd react in the moment. I mean, nobody does, because I've never been in that situation, but I feel like I would just talk to them like they were a normal person. I'd just be relatively comfortable. But I'd love to talk to CU someday. They said that's one of my main reasons that, one of the main reasons they want to learn Japanese and Korean is they want to interact with the authors and artists that they read and whose art they enjoy. And those people almost never know English or other languages, so it's hard to understand them in interviews or get to talk to them. And yeah, I follow a ton of artists and mangaka that I really love and enjoy, and I see them talking to fans on Twitter and stuff all the time, and I'm like, man, I would really love to talk with them as well. And that's a big reason why, you guys know right now I'm learning Spanish, and I think I've actually gotten pretty decent, pretty okay. But after that, I think in May is when I'll start trying to learn Japanese. And I do already know a decent bit because I did Japanese as my required, foreign language in college. I had the choice between Japanese and Russian. I was like, at that time I really hadn't even watched much anime, but I was like, you know what, Japanese, I'd probably rather learn that than Russian, so that's what I went with in college. And then I got into anime, so I mean, hey, it worked out a little bit. Oh, you know what's actually interesting? This could actually be talking about this in a way too. Seek210 said, I like that the HaQ&A is a nice way to interact with everyone. I think it'd be awesome for the 500 sub special if you could show us your anime and manga collection, or tell us a story on how you got into anime and manga. As for the collection, I am a poor man, and I wish to one day own all the stuff I read and watch, but that day is not today. I hope to in the future amass a collection, though. I've never been really big into collecting things, but I kind of want to be. I feel like my body just went into mid-water sip as I was trying to talk, and it just ended up this weird thing. But yeah, I was always like, I guess, you know what? I'll explain why I don't have a collection in my story of how I came to enjoy anime and manga. I think that may be the easiest way to go about doing this. So basically, when I was a little kid, and I mean little kid, like kindergarten maybe? Elementary school, I think starting in kindergarten actually is when the Pokemon anime started up here. But I remember before going to school each day, kindergarten, whatever, there would be 4 things. It would be Sailor Moon, Power Rangers, Pokemon, and Cardcaptor Sakura. Came on before school every day. I never really liked Sailor Moon as a kid. I was like, what is this girly shit? So I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the Sailor Moon fans. I never really liked it as a kid. But I would watch Power Rangers, which of course wasn't an anime, but I would watch Power Rangers, Cardcaptor Sakura, and Pokemon every single morning as a kid. And that was a big part of my childhood. And then after school every day, when I was young, Toonami actually came on like every weekday from like 2 to 6 or something like that. Or maybe it was like 4 to 6, 4 to 8. I don't remember the actual time schedule, but it would actually come on every afternoon. It's not like the Adult Swim Saturday night Toonami we have now, but so like every day after school when I was in elementary school, there would be stuff on like Gundam or Yu Yu Hakusho, Outlaw Star, Rurouni Kenshin was a big one for me as a kid. Just shows like that, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. I think I watched Dragon Ball first as a kid because that aired first. But yeah, those were all huge as a kid for me. And I think even now to this day, Outlaw Star and Yu Yu Hakusho are 2 of my biggest influences in watching anime ever. But then I think around my first year of middle school is when you started to get to that age where everybody was like, oh, that stuff's for nerds, it's not cool, you're not allowed to watch cartoons anymore because cartoons are for kids. And in order to be the cool kid, I was like, okay, yeah, in order to fit in, just gave up all that stuff. And I think about that time was all I can remember that was airing around that time. I'm sure there must have been more. But I remember Prince of Tennis was airing, but I thought it was boring as hell, so I never watched it. Zatch Bell was airing at the time, and I think Naruto had just finished airing. Because at that time, I'm not sure when the change happened, but at that time when I was in middle school and I was stopping watching, they had changed Toonami, and it was not every day anymore. It was only on Fridays or Saturdays, one of the two, that anime would play. And it was only then, it was only at night. So it became much easier for me to fall out of it. And I think around that time is when Naruto was starting to end. The original Naruto Shippuden wasn't out yet. The dub for Naruto was starting to wind down. I don't remember if it had actually ended or if we were just in the filler part after the canon stuff had ended. But that's where I ended off stopping watching stuff. And then I think the way I started watching it again is one time in high school I was sick. I was home from school sick and I was bored. And I saw this website advertising Naruto Shippuden or whatever, and I was like, you know what? Naruto had a continuation. Let me just check that out. So I watched Shippuden and I enjoyed it. And at that point, Shippuden, I was in late high school. Shippuden hadn't gotten that far in its series run. So I started watching that. And from there, I went and rewatched Yu Yu Hakusho, rewatched Outlaw Star eventually. And those 2 still huge things, huge influences for me watching anime. And I was like, you know, Naruto was cool. I rewatched those. And then I was like, I've heard this show Bleach. Let me check that out. Death Note, Code Geass. And I think those were like the first ones I had watched then. And then I had remembered the 4Kids dub of One Piece when I was a kid. I had watched that. And I think it only went up to, like Alabasta or something. So I'd watched that as a kid. But One Piece was so long that I was like, oh man, I don't know if I'm ever going to want to watch this. But eventually I was like, screw it. I watched Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. I was like, One Piece is long, but I'll just watch this. and man, I loved it. It was like the best thing that I had watched. Well, I think I still liked Code Geass more, but I fell in love with One Piece, and I think that's about where I ended up just getting more into anime as I went into college. And when you went into middle school and high school, everybody's like, no, don't watch cartoons, don't like video games or talk about them, don't do all of this stuff because it's not cool people don't do this. And then you go into college and everybody's like, yo, yeah, I watch anime, I play video games, like it's something that everybody does in college, and it's like, oh well, shit, I guess it's cool then. So that's probably how I just became a lot more comfortable with it. So with that story over, I guess let's move on into our first actual series comments. Next up, we have our Maid Dragon comments, and our first one is Andrew Zapita, who said, it's such a wonderful anime. I'm sad that we're almost done with it. I'm happy that it makes you really happy. Thanks for the video. Thank you for the comment, and I'm sad it's almost done too, but at least it's going to live on after the anime ends. We could even potentially get a sequel one day, and hopefully the sequel's good, but I feel like Maid Dragon has been so good that I'm okay with it ending. I don't feel like I want it to give me anything more. I feel like it's already giving me more than I could have asked of it as a show. So I'm actually okay with it ending. And just in general, this season for anime was pretty amazing. But I like to think that, okay, this was so good and it's ending, and there will be something else that'll come along that'll be that good too. And that's a thing too. I spent so much time, I was one of those kids, and man, I hate these annoying kids. It's always these kids with this Dragon Ball Super avatar that, like, anime these days is so shit, they don't make anything good anymore, says the person with the Dragon Ball Super avatar. Okay then, you obviously have no taste, but whatever, man, whatever. But yeah, I used to think that. I was like, I don't like the way anime's going, everything is just this moe whatever. But then actually watching more because of doing YouTube, I didn't really watch that much anymore, just the main Bleach, Naruto, whatever, big shonen things, and whatever big shonen would come along I'd watch. But just watching a lot more since starting the channel, I really have come to respect so many more series. Yuri Kuma Arashi and Mikakunen de Shinkoke really made me fall in love with what a romance could even do. And there are so many shitty romance anime and shitty romance series in general and other things like movies, whatever. But it showed me that a romance could be really, really good. And so many series that have shown me that comedy can be very good, slice of life can be good. So it's really opened me up to a lot of different series. Then Kuma Frostroid said, it was a really great episode. The play was amazing. It's nice to see Kobayashi fully embrace her new life and family. And she seems much happier than she did in the beginning of the series. I'd also be pretty happy if I had a wife made like Toru and a daughter like Kanna. Saikawa should be pretty happy as well since she got to have Kanna ride her. I love Kobayashi and how her character's just slowly been brought out and changed by the characters around her. Everything, it all feels so human and realistic, and the relationships feel so real and genuine. It's just such a heartfelt show. And I think anybody would be happy with a Toru or Kanna in their life. Or Elma or Lukoa. But I think Saikawa's sincerely my favorite character. Just, I don't know, I really, really like Saikawa. Just in a world of cool dragon waifus, I really like Saikawa. Then Kuma Frostroid also said, I like this episode. I'm fine with the slower, more relaxed slice of life episodes. Since I love the characters and enjoy watching them interact with each other. I thought Kobayashi was actually trying to eat Toru's tail this time. But oh well, maybe next time. I was a little disappointed that they didn't win the hot spring tickets. It was nice getting to see Cooking Chan Neighbor again. I agree with Toru that the dragon should have been first in the story. I've been curious about how exactly Kobayashi and Toru's first meeting went, so I'm really looking forward to next week's episode, and Lazy-kun said let the lesbians roll. Yeah, I enjoy episodes like this too, especially when they're done well at least. And it seems like so far Maid Dragon's done pretty much everything that they've tried amazingly. Also, I feel like Cooking Chan's voice is really cute, but like, if you've noticed, the teacher has the same voice. I think Georgie has the same voice. Like 70 to 80% of the background characters have the same voice as Cooking Chan. Like, not the same voice actress, the exact same voice. I just thought that was just something funny in the background. Like, I don't even want to criticize the series for it. It's like a funny quirk. But yeah, I'm really excited for next episode because I think it's going to be pretty feelsy. Man, I'm really excited. And that's it for the comments on Maid Dragon this week, so hope you enjoyed that. Next up, we've got our Boku no Hero Academia comments. First up, we have Darcy Forrester, who said, I'm so glad you enjoyed the chapters. This is why I knew waiting a week for this reaction would be hell. I'm surprised you handled the reveal that the last user of One for All was a woman so calmly. Oh, and Shigaraki's real name was Shimura Tenko, hence the connection to Shimura Nana, and why I told you to keep an eye out for it. Also, I knew that you'd love the Kirishima element to Deku's rescue plan, given how you've commented on his and Bakugo's relationship prior to this reaction. The rescue was a cool way of making Deku and the group useful without breaking the laws of the world. Well, I'll stop right there to answer this a part at a time. I didn't really see why I'd be surprised that much that One for All's user was a woman. They brought up that it was because that the translator had used male pronouns for it, but I just figured they were just saying he in general. So I didn't really question whether it would be a man or a woman. It really wouldn't make a difference to me either way. And then for the Kirishima element, I really like that. I really like how, I always forget his name, I believe it's Horikoshi, is the mangaka for Boku no Hero Academia. I really like how just this side little relationship that we see every now and then in the background became something important to the plot. I really like that attention to detail. Then they said, I loved Horikoshi's interpretation of a magnet power though. It's so refreshing. He does that quite regularly actually. When he takes a stock superpower and reinvents it in some way. Did you see All For One pushing his cheeks or flesh mounds up to imitate a smile when he was mocking Nana's philosophy? Man, that guy is evil. Such a vindictive existence. I really love it. He is like taking pettiness to a whole new level. He essentially took in an orphan and raised it as his own, adopted it, just to trigger All Might's feels. Like, that is a new level of, like, vindictive pettiness. Like, One for All is throwing the deepest shade in history. Now let's see, what else was it? Trying to figure out where I left off. I think that Horikoshi creates a lot of personality for him in such a short amount of time. The emotion in these chapters was really spot on though, as you pointed out. It's really impressive for a mangaka to make his audience care this much about a character's well-being in such a relatively short amount of time. All Might and his struggle with the reaction of the Japanese public is one thing, but even Endeavor gets good development here. He realizes he's done wrong in respect to Shoto and his wife, but he pursued his goal regardless, demonstrating his deep flaws and unstable ego. I really do wonder how Horikoshi came up with All For One's big powered arm form. It's so freaky looking, but cool at the same time, and there's so much detail to it. I feel like that form and that panel reminds me a lot of Akira. For those of you that have seen Akira, it reminds me of Akira and the big arm form. I don't even know what you would even call it, but the scene from Akira where he has the big arm of junk caused by the bumped the microphone, caused by the telekinesis. That's what I think he probably took some inspiration from. Then they said, hold on, he's super creative and it translates well from head to page, and I can't respect him enough for being able to do that, I don't think. Anyway, great reaction, looking forward to the next one. I hope you're feeling better. Thank you so much. I will be trying my hardest. Then next Anime Watcher said, I almost agree with you. Chapter 92 is my second favorite chapter so far in the manga. All Might is such a badass to fight against all these death flags, but we know someday Izuku has to reach the template of #1 hero, and the only way he can get there is if All Might doesn't have that #1 spot anymore. My favorite thing in these chapters was Deku and Bakugo both screaming for All Might to win. Sure, Deku and Bakugo do heroics in their own different ways, but they took inspiration from All Might's dazzling smile, his catchphrases, and his kick-ass abilities. And yeah, I don't know if I can name a single action-adventure where the mentor character doesn't die. So just being a mentor character puts the biggest death flag on your back. Like, being a mentor character, you're essentially guaranteed to die. Being a childhood friend character, you got like a 75 to 80% chance of dying. Childhood friend, mentor, not safe in anime. Not safe at all. Darcy Forrester said, not quite so much to comment this week from me. Great reaction though as always. Nice to see you enjoying it like I hoped. Especially the United States of Smash. That's quite the fan favorite moment. Can you imagine the reaction in the community when the chapter dropped? It was crazy. I'm glad you enjoyed the emotional tones throughout this chapter also. I told you last time there were emotional aspects in this lot, and I feel like these chapters are the ones that really separate a good series from a great series. Horikoshi is just tremendous talent for writing good character development and interactions. The dialogue just feels so realistic to me. But it really does pull at the heartstrings. Credit has to go to the translation teams too, of course, but without the source material from Horikoshi, there'd be no translations. So he, more importantly, gets the biggest share of the credit for me. Just one additional comment, as I want to clarify something that you may have been confused over. The Hero Billboard chart numbers we've received so far are for Japan only. It would seem every country, or America at the very least, has their own Billboard chart. Just think of the Billboard charts in real life for singles or albums. Every country has one. I'm assuming that's the inspiration here. So Edgeshot was number 5 in Japan, Best Jeanist was number 4, and etc. However, while All Might may be Japan's number 1, it's highly possible that he's still greater than any other hero in the world. Then again, it's just as possible that America's heroes or Britain's or anyone else's could have a hero or number of heroes that exceed All Might. I feel like that's something Horikoshi won't want to touch on just yet, as it gives them room to grow the series exponentially at a later point in time. I'm still hoping for a school trip arc where classes A and B go to another country and get to meet the heroes and students of that country and perhaps lend a hand in fighting villains there. The setup is present after all, as Class 1B, according to the databook released in May 2016, has 2 international students, one from China and one from America, if I'm not mistaken. Thanks a ton, and once I catch up to Boku no Hero Academia, that was kind of a long one to read before answering. I should have probably split it up a bit more. Once I catch up to Boku no Hero Academia, I'll probably go and watch other people's live reactions and read-throughs and stuff. I'm really excited to do that. And I enjoy the character writing here a lot. Yeah, I feel like I should have answered you part by part. I do enjoy the character writing a lot. And all the dialogue to me feels very real and human. That's probably one of the best things I like, and the translation is one of the best, maybe even the best manga translation I've ever seen. And what you said about the billboards really makes sense. I was just assuming it was heroes overall, but I'm wrong, because it's so much better the way you explained it. But yeah, I hope as you said, like, it makes the world so much bigger and cooler, and it's already really big and cool, but it makes the universe for Boku no Hero Academia so much bigger. I'd like to actually see the rankings, at least for Japan, at least some of them, so maybe Horikoshi can put that into a book, or like one of the omakes or something, or maybe he can actually put it into a chapter or something. I'd actually like to see that. I'd like to see as well, not just going and seeing other heroes in other countries, but I'd like to see other schools, because Izuku brought it up that there are plenty of other schools with heroics programs. UA's just the best in his opinion, and likely the best statistically. But if there's so many other schools with heroics programs, I think it'd be very interesting to see a bunch of other hero schools. I would really enjoy that. But either way, it is what it is. Moving along. I think I'm actually going to, for those of you watching, there will be no delay, but I'm actually going to record the next part of these comments tomorrow, the One Piece and Tower of God sections, just because it's getting later. My battery is running low, and I don't want to take chances. So either way, I will see you guys with the One Piece section in a couple seconds for you. Alright everybody, now we're moving on with the One Piece questions for this week. We actually got quite a few, and I feel like every time I say One Piece, like when I'm working on taking notes for videos or just editing, throwing in tags or anything, every time I say One Piece, We Are just starts playing in my head, and I can't help but sometimes just going through the lyrics and stuff. Like every time I'll be just like making the HaQ&A, I'm like, okay, this needs to go in the One Piece section. I just One Piece, dun 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 dun, and just We Are every single time. I'll be just say, okay, this video I need to put it in the One Piece playlist, and the same thing happens every time. And I just I don't know, I just have to start singing We Are every time I say One Piece, and I'm like, I need to stop this. First comment this week, because this has been a very good week for One Piece for the manga, I think. I really enjoyed this chapter, more than a lot of the chapters lately. I think the arc has been in a much better place lately than it was in early Whole Cake, but I feel like this week and the past few weeks in general have been a big step up for where the arc's been going. Phenom Uprising said, I like how the plan literally starts with dodge a bullet. I think it's important that we know what the plan would have been, since we won't be able to see it, since it will fail. It's the opposite. When a plan works as planned, then we don't have it explained before we see it. It's pretty much how it works in fiction in general. And yeah, same here. I do think it's important to know it since it's going to fail, but I mean, I almost feel like we learned it, we spent a whole chapter on it, and then it's like, well, we can't expect it to go as planned. We learned about it, so now it's like, we know this cool plan, this isn't going to work out. But on the other hand, with it not working out, I don't know how Oda's going to write it with it not working out, because I think there's no way that Luffy and Capone's alliance can take on Big Mom's crew. I feel like they would have trouble taking on one of the Sweet Commanders, let alone the crew. And all the allies and everything there. There'd be no chance, in my opinion. I have no idea how Oda's going to write this. Also, yeah, I feel like Sanji has the most dangerous part in the plan, because it literally starts with him trying to dodge a bullet. But more than that, if Pudding went to Big Mom and's like, I don't really feel like shooting Sanji, and Big Mom's like, okay, we'll just kill him in a different way or something. We'll capture him and execute him, or we'll ambush the Vinsmokes first and then take out Sanji. Like, if Big Mom decided to change up her plan, then Sanji would be really screwed. Like, the Straw Hat, Capone, Fire Tank, whatever plan would be screwed as well, but I feel like Sanji would take the bulk of that screwing in that situation. He would be in the most danger, for sure. Seek210 said, there are so many things that can go wrong with the whole plan they have, from Brûlé somehow escaping, to Caesar messing up, or just him leaving into the mirrors when it goes wrong. I still think that Tamate Bako might somehow be the one thing to save them. I also want to know who Mother Caramel is. And yeah, this arc is going to be so chaotic. As soon as this goes down, it's like, what, a 10-second span? And it's going to be chaotic in that 10-second span, and then if things don't work out the way they plan, and they probably aren't, it's going to be even more chaotic. It's just going to be so much stuff stuffed into such a short canon time span. I think that's maybe the best way to put it. Seek210 also said, this chapter was awesome looking at all the underworld leaders, and we also finally got to see who they are. We still don't know what other guests she might have invited. That's another thing I've been thinking of as well, is that these are just the people that relate, the people we saw Emperors of the Underworld that arrived then. There could still be more people invited there that we haven't seen yet. They continued on. One thing I love is Dogtooth's look. Actually, it reminds me of something from My Hero Academia, and he has the one power that can cause the most trouble for their plan, since his observation haki is so strong he can sort of see into the future. I can see maybe now that the whole plan Beige made is maybe a decoy, because of that power, and he might use Luffy, Caesar, and the rest for that, and he might do his own thing. I also agree with him not taking, with Oda not taking the break since it's been 4 chapters. One thing though is he might take 2 weeks off since we're approaching Golden Week in Japan. Golden Week, I wouldn't say we're quite approaching it yet because that's like end of April, beginning of May. But yeah, we're 3-4 weeks away from that. So I feel like he might take a break before then. But he could always take the week off before Golden Week, so then he gets that 2-week vacation like you said, or maybe the week off after Golden Week. So we could be having a 2-week hiatus, which really isn't that bad. I think saying how dare he take 2 weeks off is almost like it's a bit extreme, because sometimes I feel like we hold the mangaka to really, really harsh schedules as fans at times, because it's like we need that weekly chapter. So then when they take off, it really screws us, but it really screws them for them to not take the time off. Then hold on, the first part. Oh yeah, with I like all these new characters as well. But for the plan, I think that you could be right in that the plan that Capone told Luffy is just a lie. It's just a fake plan, fake plan. But I think he could be lying about that, and his real plan is to do something totally different, but the fake plan he told is going to be using Luffy as a real unknowing distraction so that he could do what he wants. Hell, he could be betraying the Straw Hats. He could be still loyal to Big Mom, and this whole thing was a big elaborate plan to make all the Straw Hats come to them so that they could be captured. That's a kind of stretch, I think, but it's a possibility as well. And yeah, I love Dogtooth's design as well. The thing with his observation haki is it seems more than can kind of see the future, because he knew exactly what the dude would say, exactly what would happen after he said it, exactly what Capone would say. It seems like he has a pretty clear vision of what's going on, but I think that might be why they need Luffy as the distraction. Because imagine like you're trying to focus on doing one thing and focus on doing something else. If they're both kind of just like whatever, not big tasks, of course you can multitask. But if you're trying to do 2 big important things at the same time, it's kind of hard to focus on both at the same time. So I think Luffy jumping out, trying to, and that would be like the danger sense would go off. He sees Luffy and he is focused on stopping Luffy or whatever, so that maybe he doesn't see Capone like in the future trying to kill Big Mom. That might be, Luffy might be the distraction just to make him focus on that so that his foresight isn't seeing what Capone is doing. But that again is just more guessing based on what we know so far. And that would be it for the One Piece comments this week. Thank you all for that. Next up, we have the Tower of God comments for this weekend. As long as I've been recording already, this is going to be a long HaQ&A, because I feel like I got as many Tower of God comments as all the rest of them combined. So I have no idea how long this is going to be. But either way, let's go ahead and start discussing some Tower of God. There were a lot of theory. Like, this is something I like a lot about the Tower of God discussions and all the other discussions as well. It's just that we get more of it with Tower of God. But we have a lot of theories and a lot of things we can argue back and forth and talk about and try to just have good discussion with a lot of these things. And every chapter so far has been giving us a lot more to talk about lately. In this week, I think a lot of it is probably going to be focusing on a lot of the 13-month series stuff. But just starting off, Ilham Naeem said, living the no-spoiler life, and Anime Watcher said, agreed, I think it's more fun to wait for the official chapters. In the meantime, we can speculate on future possibilities. Ilham Naeem said exactly, and if those speculations turn out to be right, then it's even better. For me, I feel like I just wanted to put this at the beginning and answer this real quick, because I feel like it's something still worth talking about, especially for newer people coming in and stuff. To explain why I don't do the preview service or the scans 3 weeks early and stuff. Because I've said it before, and I feel like I get to talking about it too often, which is why I just want to get it done at the beginning and stuff. But yeah, I avoid the spoilers and the preview service and stuff, because like, I feel like it's not very fair to see you, because the way it works, if you don't know, of course, the preview service has CU submits a draft 3 weeks ahead of time, and that'll be released for people subscribing to a preview service in Korea, and they pay to get that draft 3 weeks ahead of time and to read it. Well, for those people, there are a couple assholes who subscribe to it and then put scans of it out to be translated and stuff, and that's the spoilers that are getting out 3 weeks ahead of time, and it's not really fair to see you, because then he's losing out on people. People are just reading the scans and they're not subscribing to the actual preview service. They're not reading the official release to support him, especially when the official release is free and you can just read it for free. It's really, I feel like it's not super fair to see you who's losing out because of that. So that's one reason that I don't do it. And the other reason is that CU has said a few times in the past in his blog and stuff that the preview service drafts are not his final drafts, and that sometimes he decides to change things like dialogue, a couple of the panels. So me personally, not only would I rather just not do it because I don't think it's super fair to see you, but I'd also rather just wait for his finished and official version. Because then, like, if I read the first draft or whatever, the draft for the preview service, if I read that and then he decided to change a few things and they turned out to be relatively key, then I would be like, oh guys, in the official release they changed this, and I mean, I don't know, I think it's better just to wait for the final version. But either way, like I said, it really doesn't bother me if anybody reads the scans. I mean, I get why they do it. If the scans are out 3 weeks ahead of time and you have nothing better to do, like, if you're interested in the series and you're like, okay, why would I wait when I can just read them now? I get that, I do. I don't do it, but I don't, like, if you do, who cares? The only problem I have is when people do that, when people take the preview service, they take these stolen scans, essentially, and then spoil people on the Reddit, on YouTube comments or whatever. That's when it becomes kind of an asshole move. Next up, Ilham Naeem said, the 3-eye logo that Zahard uses is the same logo that was drawn in Bomb's cave. We also now know that Enryu considers Zahard a false king, so maybe the logo Zahard is using is not his own, but he copied it from the Axis, God, King, whatever, from outside the tower. Zahard is the reason Gustang's only daughter went insane, so I'd say he has pretty good reason to watch Zahard crumble and burn. Instead of creating, okay, I'll answer that first part first. For me, I think it's a possibility that he stole that symbol or whatever. Also, Gustang's only daughter. N wasn't Gustang's only daughter, but I think it was Gustang's only daughter with Blossom. So N was important to him. N was his daughter. And it does seem that Gustang is making plays behind Zahard's back. It really does, because didn't Gustang help Bomb get the thorn and escape during the workshop battle? So yeah, I think Gustang is making plays behind Zahard's back. Next they said, instead of Enryu creating the Red Witches, I think it's more likely that he made or altered Haku, because in the last chapter, Haku's memory loss seems suspicious. I love how the timeline in Tower of God is spread over thousands of years. It makes it feel more serious. The oppressed have had to wait not for a few years, but for thousands and thousands of years. It's something I never thought would matter, but now that we're reading it, I feel like it adds more gravity and importance to Bomb in the story. Hey, if someone's been immortal for centuries, they might be justified in feeling that cocky. The reason that Rachel doesn't make sense is crazy bitches be crazy, logic and crazy don't go hand in hand. She might seem sane most of the time, but there is something broken and wrong inside of her. And yeah, for the thousands of years, I like that as well, because, like, Garam, when I was looking through stuff for the 13-month series and researching to answer stuff and do the review and everything this week, I found that it said Garam was over 5,000 years old. So if she's over 5,000 years old, and all the stuff with Arlen and everything was wiped from history before she could even have knowledge of it, that means all this stuff with Arlen and Enryu and all that had to have happened way before that. This is something that has had to have happened thousands of years ago. So that's, to me, I really like that as well, but it also makes things confusing since you have some characters that are like only a couple hundred years old, and then some characters that are like thousands and thousands of years old. And not knowing how far apart all these different events were, it confuses things. It makes things a lot cooler in my opinion, but it does confuse things. Then what was the next one? Oh, Rachel being crazy. Yeah, I do think that Rachel is, there is something pretty crazy about her. Not just her obsession with trying to be the chosen one, even though she's not the chosen one, but also you could see in the, the evil laugh cackling panel way back from when Kun was thinking about betraying her or whatever. Or when she, cut up Dan's legs for not agreeing to join her team. Like, she definitely has a couple of screws loose. Like, I feel like she was like, oh, I feel so bad about killing Acraptor or whatever. It's like, yeah, but what about the time you cut up that dude's legs and didn't feel bad about it? So yeah, Rachel has a few screws loose. Then Bomb with the Thorn versus Joaquin with Souls. But because Joaquin is now ranker level, Bomb loses and Yuri has to come save his little ass. I'd love it if Warrian was given some character development on this floor. She's always been such a mysterious and closed off character. One of my favorite characters in Tower of God. Yeah, I'm hoping for more character development for Warrian as well, because she's either been one of two things. She's either been like really mysterious and just disappearing all the time, not really like present and, I don't know, not really present and emotionally attached to the other characters that much, it would seem. She's either doing that and constantly disappearing. Oh, sorry, bumped the microphone. And constantly disappearing. Or she's either that or she's like a hostage that needs to be rescued. Warrian has been a hostage too many damn times. Then Cryptic said, I have a strong feeling while Bomb is taking the test for the Thorn, Karaka and White, hold on. Oh yeah, okay, this is going to be a little bit of a large-ish comment chain, just because I wanted to see what everyone's thoughts were and put their thoughts out and then get my thoughts on the subject. Cryptic said, I have a strong feeling that while Bomb is taking the test for the Thorn, Karaka and White will burst in, and the same with Yurik, and Yurik will either fight both and kill White, fight Karaka, or kill White. The reason why I'm so for White getting killed is he doesn't seem like a long-term villain. Karaka's the opposite, though. I also wonder how Bomb is going to control two Thorns. We saw what happened when he went Berserk mode with only one, and he can't even fully control that one. Oh yeah, I also think while Yurik and White are fighting Karaka, or while Yurik and White fight, Karaka will notice Wangnan while trying to get them away from battle if they somehow come with those two. Ilham Naeem said, same here, I honestly don't think Joaquin/White is a long-term villain, unlike Karaka. And Yakim Gamble said, we'll see you did state that Karaka is one of the driving forces of the Tower of God story after all. Anime Watcher said, I don't know about Joaquin, I think it's possible that Joaquin could meet his father again. How I think it's going to go is after the Floor of Death, whatever reason Joaquin disappears from the story, whether he goes into hiding again or he transforms into White and tries to wreak some havoc. And further along the story, at the 100th floor, Joaquin will meet up with his father to prove that he's grown strong all this time by attempting REA Hone's special test. And Ilham Naim said, I would actually prefer if that happens. Hone seems like a real evil creep, and I love Joaquin's character. But it's the Floor of Death. Someone has to die, and we know Karaka ain't going to die because he's important for the rest of the story. At least one big bad needs to die on the floor. If some other big bad suddenly appears, then I'm all for Joaquin surviving, so he can punk his dad at his own game. And I think thinking about having to kill a character off is kind of the wrong way to think about it. Like, I think at least Joaquin's going to show up while Bomb is there at the Soul Room, but I think there's pretty much no chance of Joaquin dying right now. Karaka's definitely not dying because Karaka has one of the rings, and we still need to know what the story with the rings is and everything. Karaka's not dying anytime soon. And we also might find out that Karaka's got a good reason to be in FUG trying to stop Zahard, since we know Zahard's pretty evil. And we kind of have hints here and there that FUG might not necessarily be the bad guys here. So Karaka, something could come off where we learn about Karaka's backstory and we start to sympathize with Karaka. And he or she may not be such a bad person. And also, I think Joaquin's not dying because we saw his flashback with Hone. We saw his clear dream of surpassing Hone. So he's either going to have to A, fulfill that dream of surpassing Hone, or he's going to have a really strong character moment with somebody else, leaving that dream to be fulfilled by them. And that's another pretty much solid thing in storytelling altogether. Like we saw it with Ackraptor. Ackraptor had confided in Wangnan a few times about his daughter and trying to find his daughter, and that's what made CU able to kill Ackraptor off, because he was able to, it's different if it's like a minor character, but for a major character with an actual dream and backstory, you kind of have to do this. We had that dream of finding his daughter passed on to Wangnan, so now CU's cool to kill Ackraptor off, and he did. Next up, we have Anime Watcher, who said, "My heart is going full Doki Doki for Yuri." I can't believe that I had forgotten that Yuri has always been a troublemaker for her friends and foes. I'll be so hyped if we get Yuri's backstory. The 13-month series is back. Man, I'm pumped to see what the other 11-month spirits look like, so if we assume that 2-month series is enough to make one go insane, then is it possible that the Colorless December is twice as powerful as a regular month series, since Enzahard was able to go insane from only wielding the Colorless December? Now, I think that is because whether the cause of the insanity is internal or external, En was able to get driven to that psychotic state with only 1-month series. Ilham Naeem said it's probably a bit of both, the Colorless December slowly poisoning her mind, coupled with finding out the terrible secrets of the Zahard Empire. I thought that Yuri did very many cutes this chapter, and I also felt like, I don't know, I'm really more hyped than anything for the 13-month series. I want to see what the spirits look like, what they are. I really want to find out what they are. But I do not think that has anything to do with the weapon's power. To assume that it's twice as strong, no, that is like a huge logical jump that makes no sense whatsoever. I think that it's the overuse that really matters. Like, Green April said that the curse is for like forcing them to hate and kill each other. So I assume the more you use one of the 13-month series, the more you will want to hate and kill other princesses. I would think that is the issue here. And then we really don't even know if En is really insane. I mean, she could have always found out what she knew about Zahard and did the things she did because of that, and to cover his own ass, he was like, psh, she's insane, she's making it all up, she's crazy. So I do think that that could be an issue. Plus, yeah, we have no evidence that any of the 13-month series are twice as powerful as the others. Unless, well, the only one we know is stronger is the Golden November. The Golden November is the strongest. That's just what we know for right now, and that could always be changed in the actual canon storyline in the future. Venersa said, "My prediction is that Yuri goes insane, she dies, and then Bomb gets the Black March. Not my Yuri." But seriously, I don't think she's going to die. Kind of how I said before, I don't think White is going to die because he's important to the story and he has stuff going on that has to be resolved first. Yuri is a bit different in why she's important. And it kind of goes into, you see it in pretty much any series where there's a character who's new to a certain place or world or whatever, pretty much any alternate world series ever, you have the person, like the main character, who is new to this world, whatever, but then there's always a companion with them who is not new to this world. That's kind of like the Bomb and Coon situation, so that the viewers are given the story and given reactions to what's going on in the events of the story, not just from a person who doesn't know this world or universe or who is new to it like the viewer would be, but also from somebody who's been in that world and lived in it. And I think a third sort of way to go with that would be how Yuri's character is doing things, giving us the look at Tower of God's world from the eyes of a ranker. We're seeing not only how Bomb and Coon see the world, and the events that are going on in the story from the perspective of somebody new to the tower and somebody who grew up in it, but also seeing the perspective of a ranker who's already climbed, though not as often. So I think Yuri is important. I think we need that. We need to have a ranker that is showing us readers a perspective from a ranker. And I think that since Yuri's been here since essentially the beginning, that is her role in the story. So I think she's pretty necessary. She's not going to be in the story all the time, but I highly doubt she'll die. And if she does, it'll be very, 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 very late in the story. And I personally have always thought we'd have a ranker that we meet and we see them grow and rise through the ranks through the story, and I think that's most likely going to be Yuri, but it could also possibly be Jinsung or Karaka, but I think it looks like that'll be Yuri. Melissa Marquez said, I'm so excited, but at the same time, I feel like the plot's going by fast. I kind of agree. Tower of God for me has always seemed like it goes at this blisteringly fast pace because we get so much content each chapter, where it feels like what CU does in 30 chapters is enough content that would be like a 100 chapter arc for some other mangaka or comic author, writer, whatever. At least that's how I feel. I always feel like Tower of God moves at a very quick pace. And it always has moved at a very quick pace, in my opinion. There are some slow little transition arcs here and there, but other than that, I think once we get into an arc, it moves very quickly. Like Name Hunt Station for sure. Once we got into it, it steamrolled. Seek210 said, I found it interesting to learn that Yuri hasn't ignited a month series before and just lied about it, lol. On another note, I liked how the spirits of the months mentioned that they're waiting for the chosen person to wield them, and until then they'll continue the curse and drive anyone mad. I also found it funny how Yuri, given the choice to only have one, she was like, no, I want both, and kept pressing on it, even though they told her if she does it'll drive her insane. I like that it also raises the question that even if one can make you lose your mind on a long-term use, as they mentioned the curse many times. On the other side of the floor, now the question has left us wondering now what Garam said about her hoping he forgives her for not telling that story left me wondering if it's about Rachel's identity. I'd like to mention that I always find it interesting how CU keeps naming a lot of the characters after soccer players that he likes. Yeah, I love Yuri here, and I really like, I am still struggling to think of what it could possibly be that Bomb would, what it would be that if she left it out of the story, it would make Bomb be mad at her that she left it out. That's one thing I cannot figure out. Also, CU's naming is hilarious. I think one of my favorite ones is, and like you said, soccer players, that's like 90% of Tower of God names, I think. Like, most of them are. I love how, his story he told about how he named Haku, though. He was like, well, when I thought up the character and drew him and made him and stuff, I had a David Haku art book on my desk, so I just went with that as his name. So I love that he was just like, oh, David Haku book? Okay, the character is named David Haku. Next up, Future Guy 2045 said, I could be completely wrong, but I took it as Garam still has the 13-month series in Black March and Green April since the weapons and were surprised that Garam would be nearby. I mean, she's in hiding. Also, I'm assuming that Bomb is the true master, and it makes sense. He has shown the ability to absorb or take in a lot of power at once, so it would make sense that he could handle multiple ignitions. I just hope that Yuri can hang in there long enough before losing control, or maybe Bomb shows up and saves her from going completely insane. Now I'm wondering what miracle Bomb has to perform this time. I seriously doubt this, but I think it'd be epic if Bomb somehow brings back the Administrator, because I don't believe that it's fully dead. That would definitely prove his worth, and then the residents would not require a spell to stay alive and they could leave. Also, this would bring back the floor that his mother loved. Plus, this would really make him soar in the rankings of the tower later on, and Ryu killed him, and Bomb resurrected him. And yeah, for the first part, I think you're totally right. I think I took it the wrong way. I took it as they were like, oh, I thought Garam had them. And I was like, oh, so are they saying Garam doesn't have them? But no, you're right. They're more saying Garam's here. So yeah, I took that the wrong way, I think. I agree about Bomb being the true master as well, but what that brings up to me is the question, who put the curse on him? Why? Like, who put the curse on the weapons? Why would they put them on it? Like, whoever put the curse on the weapons was clearly against Zahard, so it wasn't Zahard himself, even though it would also serve Zahard's purpose in a way. But that would mean that if Ashul-Adwaru was the one that put the curse on them, does that mean that Ashul-Adwaru was a traitor? Like, my guess at this time is still maybe that V put the curse on them, and maybe him killing himself, maybe that was even the part of the story that Garam left out, is that V killed himself to put the curse on the 13-month series. I think maybe V put the curse and then killed himself. That could be a possibility. But then again, why would V know that Bomb would end up being the chosen one when Arlen hadn't made that prophecy yet? So it's just very confusing. I have no idea who put this curse on these things. Also, I think that the miracle she was talking about with Bomb making a miracle or whatever, I think the miracle might be bringing Grand Deja back to his old self again, since she said that he had kind of gone a bit off the deep end since isolating himself. Because we know that Grand Deja, they said he was a high ranker, he was in charge of an entire floor, and that he's strong enough to have made this immortality soul spell that's currently going on. So he's obviously a really freaking strong high ranker. So I think maybe Bomb bringing him back from his madness or despair or whatever it is might actually make a big difference in the tower, or at least on that floor, if he's that strong. So I'm not, like, I agree with you too that I'm not sure how, but I've been saying for a while that I thought Bomb would revive the Guardian. At first I thought the Thorn was pieces of the Guardian soul, so I was like, Bomb's going to give the Thorn back to the Guardian and bring it back to life. But that, since the Thorn doesn't appear to be a piece of the Guardian soul, since Enryu seems to have brought it here from somewhere else, I don't think that that's going to be the case, but I still have a feeling that Bomb will bring it back to life. Especially, who was it? Was it Garam, or was it Warian? There was somebody, just a chapter or two ago, that said that, I remember them saying that Enryu put the Guardian to sleep, and I was like, what? I thought he killed it. Why use those words? So, since somebody used the words put it to sleep, I think that maybe it's semi-dead, or maybe it's dead but not perma-dead, and it just needs somebody to like jumpstart its power or wake it back up, something like that. So I think that it may be dead but able to be revived. I'm not sure that it's totally dead. Coolfu270 said, the spell in the 13-month series is stronger than a Guardian, then it actually makes sense to me. I mean, Enryu killed a Guardian, so theoretically all Irregulars could kill a Guardian. If an Irregular spell user was the one that made the 13-month series, it's quite or the enchantment on him, it's quite likely that the product can overpower a Guardian. My guess is that Arlen put the enchantment on them, because she's allegedly a spell user, and maybe she's the reason Zahard considers spells as taboo, and that is a really, really great thought. That's a really great point, because I hadn't even really thought of it like that, but if the person who enchanted the 13-month series was an Irregular apparently trumps Guardian, so that would make sense as to why its power is stronger than a Guardian. And I think Arlen, since Arlen did know spells, I think Arlen's the top choice of who I would think maybe enchanted them. Then that could be it. And that could also be why Zahard considers spells taboo, because Arlen and Zahard's past and all that. So it would make a lot of sense if that was true. The only thing with that is that would really counteract my theory as to what the spirits of the 13 months are, being the original princesses. If Arlen is the one that placed the spell on them, then it doesn't seem like the princesses were the original, or were the spirits. So, yeah, either one theory is right or the other's right. I don't see them both being right. Though I do believe both to be very, very believable. Ilham Naeem said, I'm loving the inclusion of magic and spells into the world of Tower of God. They're two of my favorite things in the world. Hail the great Princess Yuri. I love her personality. I used to think Zahard gave Adori the strongest weapon because she was the strongest princess so that she can have a weapon that's worthy of her. But now it turns out that he probably gave it to her so that she can hurry up and become insane because she's so powerful. I'm really starting to hate that blonde bastard. And man, you love saying Lalirian, don't you? I like the inclusion of magic as well, especially since we got the 3 rules for magic. I think that knowing what we can and can't see from magic, rule-wise, helps out a lot as a concept. So we know what the limits of them are. I think that's what makes me like it a lot. Also, Yuri was very much cute this chapter. And I can't tell what Zahard's intention was with Adori, but that might be it. He might have given her the strongest weapon because she's the strongest princess, and he's like, okay, she needs to hurry up and become insane before she becomes too strong. Because we know what? Zahard's in 3rd? Zahard's the 3rd strongest, she's 7th. She is quite close to his strength. I mean, the only people stronger than her and not stronger than Zahard would be Urik Mazano, Arie Hone, and Kun Edwan, I believe. So she is quite close to Zahard's strength. Also, yeah, I don't think we can really trust Zahard. I don't think we can trust that he gave it to her just because she's strong. I don't know, I feel like it's an interesting note, and I think somebody brings up later, so I won't go too far into this, where they're like, you know, Black March kind of has the same look that we've seen from Zahard and Wangnim with the yellow hair, yellow eyes. And it's said that Adori has yellow hair and yellow eyes and stuff. So it makes it weird. Is there like family members of Zahard that aren't like direct children, and that's the family that she's from, maybe? Because it's weird, we haven't seen any other 10 families that look like that so far. But she's presumably from one of the 10 families if she's that strong. So it's very, very, very odd. To me, though, I'm very interested more than why Zahard gave the strongest one to Adori. I'm interested in why Haste Zahard was offered one and then said no thanks. Like, that to me just makes me think either she knows something or she knows all the stuff that maybe Garam and En know. So I'm pretty interested in Haste Zahard now. Also, I'm going to keep calling Lalirian until we get a real name. And I feel like I'll end up doing that for most of the Red Witches that show up and don't have names. I'll just do character trait here, Rian. And talking about Rian and the strongest people in the tower and stuff, it keeps reminding me of Bayek Rian, because, I don't know, Bayek Rian, everyone was always assuming, okay, he doesn't have any relation to Warian, they just have a similar name there. But the more I think about it, what if Bayek Rian is like some special, maybe kind of like, Bayek Rian is one of the characters too. I think Enryu and Bayek Rian are the two from the lore of the tower that like make me most excited. I really want to see Bayek Rian in the story. But yeah, just to give some connections here and how I think he might be like a male Red Witch or something. The story of him, if you guys don't know, is that Bayek Rian is the 9th strongest person in the tower, so he's in the top 10. He's friggin' strong. But he was just an orphan out in a forest in the tower, and he learned to control Shinsu by himself without making a contract. So that right there tells us that if he's making Shinsu without a contract, he's either A, born into some sort of special family that's born with a contract, or B, he's an irregular of some kind. He can, because we've seen only irregulars can do that, can just make Shinsu obey them without any sort of contract. So he doesn't know where he came from. None of us as fans know where he came from, but this dude can control Shinsu without a contract. Also in the story is that Head-On saw him do this by himself, so Head-On made him a regular. He climbed the floor, and after that, he went back to his forest. He didn't do anything. He didn't get political power. He didn't fight anyone. He just went back to his forest. So, then the story goes, the biggest, best bromance in Tower of God. Uruk Mazano is climbing the tower, and on his way climbing the tower, he stops at the forest of Byakuyan and talks to him and tells him stories of outside the tower and how he wants to go outside the tower. And he learns from Byakuyan as well, and the two of them become friends and teach each other whatever. So then Uruk Mazano leaves him, continues on to the top of the tower, and then once Uruk Mazano becomes a ranker, he comes back to Byakuyan, and the two of them are like, yo, let's bust up out of this tower. So then Byakuyan's like, I really want to bust up out of this tower, but this forest is my home, and I'm not going to leave it behind. So then Uruk Mazano's like, well, then I'll just slap some wings on these trees, and we'll fly this forest on out of here behind us. And that's where the whole Wing Tree organization comes from, because it was formed by people hearing the stories of 2 of the 10 strongest people in the tower and saying, yo, Yuri and Byakuyan are trying to break up out of the tower. Let's follow these guys are badass. So that's how the Wing Tree organization got its name and its start. But the thing is, it just interests me so much, how can this dude control Shinsu without a contract? And maybe it makes sense. He has the last name, or he has the part of his name Ryun. Maybe he's some sort of exception, a male Red Witch. And we've seen Red Witches have really weird rule-breaking abilities as guides. So maybe possibly that's how. So I'm really excited to see Byakuyan. If we see him and he has red eyes and hair, I'm gonna freak the fuck out. But currently he's the ruler of the 77th floor, and Yuri actually moved his forest there. So yeah, moved the entire forest. So that's actually, we've seen that forest before. We saw it, that's where Liro Ro and Quant met up with Kun Hasheling. So yeah, we've seen it before. And eventually we know Bomb's going to stop by that forest. So when Bomb gets to floor 77 and meets Byakuyan, my hype will be at all-time highs, I feel. So that was just a very odd sidebar. Anime Watcher said, I'm really impressed at how the Floor of Death is further solidifying my love of Tower of God and making me more confident of giving it the honor of being my favorite fictional narrative of all time. Whether that changes in the future, I'm not sure, but I'm sticking to my guns in the meantime. I was thinking about your theory about the Spirits of the 13-Month series that was previously the first generation of Zahard princesses. So as I was walking between classes, I started thinking, what if Black March was a relative of the family of Zahard? I know it's another crazy theory that deserves to be buried on Reddit, and I only have the blonde hair to think about when it comes to evidence, but I don't know, I just keep thinking about the possibility. I mean, it could happen, it sounds plausible, but if that happens, I'd be surprised and relieved that I called that. Like, for me, I'd argue that Tower of God's my favorite comic. I think One Piece is a close second. I think Boku no Hero Academia is catching up fast. I love Boku no Hero Academia now. But I can compare them as comics, but it's hard for me to compare, like, other art media, like TV shows or movies. I can't really compare those in the same sort of way. Also, I love the theory of it being the first generation of princesses, like, the more and more I think about it. Because, like, supposedly all the first generation of princesses died in an event that Zahard had planned, so maybe whatever that event was making them into weapons by combining them with fragments of the keys. And the same thing, like you said, Black March has a lot of the physical similarities of Zahard and Wangnan, and probably Karaka. We don't really know much of anything about Karaka's appearance, but it seems like he or she looks like they have yellow eyes behind the mask, and possibly have yellow hair as well. So I could see the Black March maybe being some relation to him. But then again, princesses don't have to necessarily be from one of the 10 families. They can be from anywhere. Well, I mean, they don't have to be born into the 10 great families, it would seem, because we haven't seen any 10 great family that looks anything like a Nock, and she was a princess. And of course, Andrasi was adopted into one of the 10 great families. So I don't think they necessarily need to look like each of the 13 warriors, but it could be possible that Black March does have some relation to Zahard. Lord Asriel said about the 13 months and their respective destined owners. We have our own theory on the Discord. Don't go there, by the way, it's full of spoilers. But this theory doesn't spoil. As you may have realized, Enzahard and Baum may be considered as pretty similar people. Their lineage, their character as pacifists, their looks, both are told to be pretty and gorgeous. Baum stayed locked in a cave for eons, while En has been in a maze for at least 1,000 years. So she knows about Baum. Now, let's return to the 13 months. She owns the colorless December. The colorless December might have been destined to V. Moreover, at the beginning of Tower of God, a hidden article on CU's blog used to say that N owned the white February, and we can assume it's a wand because in this chapter we see a white wand with a red head. The wands are used by wave controllers, and who could have been a wave controller within the 12 great warriors? Arlen. That theory is that to add to the gigantic mountain of threads linking Baum and En, that she would possess the two 12-month series that were destined for his parents. That theory is actually all very, very possible, and I do like it. And it would help explain a lot of the connection between En and Baum as characters. But I think just saying, oh, that sounds right, is one thing, but I want to give a little bit of criticism to help, because I think criticism helps you, like, pointing out things that might be wrong with the theory helps you think of ways that, oh no, it still makes sense because this is why, and it helps form the theory and help make it better. So just some criticism in it to help you out there. Pobedal Gusting and Eurasia Blossom, I believe, are both wave controllers as well, so a wand could have been for either of them. Also, we're not sure that that's the white February. I actually wasn't even assuming that that's the white February. When I was just guessing to myself what they were, since it had that red thing on the head, I was actually guessing it was the red October is the red one, correct? So I was actually thinking it was the red October, and not the white February. Also, En is said in the blogs now to have killed the owner of the white February, so I could see originally where maybe people were thinking, okay, she killed the owner and then took the weapon, but maybe she didn't. Maybe she killed the owner because, as we know, the curse of madness or whatever is to make them more and more want to hate and kill other princesses, so maybe the curse made her hate and kill the princess who owned the white February. To me, that makes a bit more sense. And so yeah, a wand would have worked for either of those two other great warriors as well. And we're not even sure that Arlen was a wave controller necessarily, just because she used spells. I mean, Joaquin uses spells, and he's certainly not a wave controller. He's a swordsman of some sort. I guess that'd be a fisherman, possibly a scout. I would assume he's a fisherman, though. So yeah, and also, I mean, Sachi uses spells. He's a wave controller. Same with, actually, Daniel was a scout, wasn't he? Daniel was a scout. He used spells. Because of trying to copy Joaquin or whatever. So we don't quite know Arlen was a wave controller. It's a definite safe assumption to make, but we're not sure, because out of the people we've seen use spells, I would say only like a third of them have been wave controllers, I suppose. Then I also, for me, I like the theory that the 13-month series that was meant for Arlen was the colorless December, and En got the colorless December, because we don't know how En learned of Arlen or learned of this pocket and stuff, but if that weapon was meant for Arlen, maybe it spoke to Arlen in the past, then it would be able to have that knowledge and tell En about Arlen, and she could have learned it from the colorless December. That or the rainbow Undecember, because the Undecembers never had an owner, so Zahard may have said, okay, this was Arlen's, I'm not giving it an owner. I hope as well that V's 13-month was Black March, personally, because I think that would give big, huge significance to Baum using the Black March in Volume 1, and I like when writers do that, where they have something that's significant, but you don't know the significance of it at the time, like the Hand of Arlen. We didn't know the significance of the Hand of Arlen until much, much later. So I think it'd be really cool if the Black March was V's 13-month. And also, just throwing it out there, I know you already commented that you weren't saying that, but I just wanted to throw out, I really hope nobody thinks I dislike the Tower of God Discord or Reddit. I do like both, I just pretty much never go to either. because like it's like with One Piece forums in a way as well, where like there are just spoilers there, so I just don't go very often. Yeah, I just don't talk there very often because I've got all of you to talk to in the comments about this stuff. I make videos on it, so I discuss it a lot. I don't really feel the need to risk spoilers to go on one of the forums or something. So yeah, I definitely don't dislike either. I feel like I might come across as that way sometimes because I'm so often like, I don't go to the Reddit unless I have to, unless somebody tells me to. I feel like that almost sounds dickish, but like, I know a bunch of you guys are from the Reddit because I've seen your usernames there a bunch, and I've talked on the Reddit before, so yeah, I mean, I like the people there, I like it, I just barely go there because partially it's not really my thing, I guess. I don't really know Reddit very well or how to use it very well. I feel like such an old man saying that, but it's kind of the truth. I don't have much experience on Reddit. That and just avoiding spoilers. And then I think last for this week, sorry this video has been so long and it'll probably take forever to get up because of all the problems I've had today and yesterday with my computer and issues and stuff. But either way, back into the good stuff. Let's answer this final comment and discuss it. Man, breaking into a stutter. I feel like my voice is beginning to fail as well. Seek210 said, it was an awesome chapter and we got to see a background on the 13-month series. We also learned about their curse that's stronger than a guardian, and also that they're going to keep on going cursing everyone who wields them until the promised one comes to them. I had to laugh at Yuri being stubborn and wanting to use both series, even when both told her that she might go crazy, and also how she lied that she had ignited one before, though I'm sure she's going to look badass and kick ass, just hoping she doesn't go crazy. I'm wondering what the story that Garam didn't tell Bomb and said that she hoped he can forgive her. I wonder if it's about Rachel or maybe more about V. Yeah, I'm so hyped about the 13-month series. I've said it a bunch. I don't want to keep repeating myself. And I think it'll be badass to see Yuri use both, because, I mean, you guys remember Anak when Anak during the Crown game ignited the Green April? That was badass. And you think Volume 1 Anak compared to Yuri, Yuri is on an entirely different level here, so I'm very, very interested in what it'll seem like when Yuri ignites both. That, and we really don't know much about the powers of Black March at all, really, so it'll be interesting to see what sort of powers it has under Yuri's control. And yeah, I'm interested as well in the part of the story that Garam left out, but no matter how much I think about it, I just can't think about what in the story Garam would be like. Okay, leaving it out might make Bomb upset at her for not telling him. I have no clue. Maybe it's, like I said earlier, what I say earlier, was it that V put the curses on the 13 months? Maybe something like that, but I'm not sure. I still really have no idea what it could possibly be. But either way, that is the end of this super long HaQ&A that I honestly thought was going to be a kind of shorter one, but it turned out to be like the longest freaking one. But either way, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm going to go ahead and bust through this outro and end it. Lots of things to talk about and discuss here, and I'm eagerly awaiting to see what your thoughts are on all of this as well. But either way, if you did like the video, comment down there, tell me what you thought of this video, whatever you want to talk about, whatever you thought about anything. Subscribe for more of everything we talked about here and more. Like I talked about before, the schedule changing and everything, we'll talk a lot more about that in the monthly update. And what else? Follow on Twitter if you want. I'll try to keep you updated there and stuff for the channel. That is it. Thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you all next time.